Hey guys, Jared Lintner here with Tackle Warehouse. I want to talk with you about a brand new bait from Jackall, just got released at ICAST. It's called the Dera Buzz. And you can see the profile of it. That's a small bait, and it has some really cool features though. It's got these wings on the prop itself, which help lift the bait and add more sound, more commotion, even for a bait that small. The head design is one that helps in castability. It actually casts like a bullet. And then not only that, it helps it track straight. So you don't want a buzz bait running right to left and all like that. You want it to come through whatever cover you're throwing at. Perfect straight line, you know, and you can make the adjustments from there. But I added a little 2.8 rhythm wave on there, little albino color, just to help keep it up there and give it some extra action. They got several other colors here. We got a white on white, black on black, and then a white and chartreuse with a chartreuse blade. So, you know, a lot of people are probably asking, you know, why a buzz bait that small? Usually buzz baits are quite larger, and some will have double props and things like that. A lot of times, I wish I had this in the arsenal actually, some tournaments I fished recently, the fish get used to the same sounds, the same profile, coming back through water that you might have already fished a few times or seen other guys in that area, and presenting a bait like that in that shallow cover, that shallow water, you're gonna get some extra added bites. You know, and there's no doubt, you know, that's a small bait, but it will catch big fish. Now, if I was fishing in a farm pond, or let's say, you know, we got a little bit of ripple on the water, but if this was flat calm, that would be the time you want to throw a bait like that. The Dera Buzz, I mean, it's a cool little bait. I'm excited to fish it and see how it works, and looking forward to catch some big old bass on it. All right, so let's go give it a shot. This will be my first time throwing the Dera Buzz, and looking forward to it. So let's get out to the water. Dang, that didn't take long at all. Look at that, the old Dera Buzz. Oh, he just fell off. Dang it. Man, that's like the third throw I made with the Dera Buzz. That's pretty cool. I added a little trailer hook, but you know, it's summertime, but any time post-spawn is a great time to throw a buzz bait all the way into the fall. You know, and it's a great search bait. Fish around weeds, around, you know, lily pads, even shallow water wood. Sometimes on like riprap on a shad spawn like that. Really, it's just, you want to fish it in that 5 foot to 0 foot range. And you could have some of the most fun fishing you've ever done in your life. I say 5 foot. Sometimes if you're out in the middle of a grass bed, say in Kissimmee, it's 8-9 foot of water and those fish are suspended up, that's when you want to throw a buzz bait and a Dera Buzz and cover that water. It's going to produce big bites. You know, how you fish it, it's pretty simple. You know, for a lot of people that don't know, a buzz bait is meant to fish on the surface, but pretty much what you want to do is make that cast near the structure, through the structure, around the structure. Especially like you can see here, we got some little bit of topped out grass. I'm not gonna just make one throw. I'm gonna throw on that edge, and right down the middle. So really dissect that cover, because a lot of times if those fish are facing a certain way, they might not react to that bait, or you're not bringing it through their strike zone. And a buzz bait is meant to really draw the aggression out of a bass. And trust me, some of the funnest bites are on a buzz bait. So what you want to do is, it's not a bait you throw out there and let it sink. You want to throw it out, engage the reel. As soon as it hits the water, keep that bait up, and then just a slow, steady retrieve, so that bait is just moving right along the surface. If you run it too fast, like this is a 7:1 to gear ratio reel, if you run it too fast, you're going to lose the action. The bait's going to do all kinds of weird stuff. So you just want a nice, steady, slow retrieve where that bait is just cruising along and you're covering water. You know, colors, like if we had some overcast today, I'd be throwing either that white on white or the black on black. White and chartreuse is, you know, everybody that knows bass fishing knows that white and chartreuse catches bass, whether it's a crankbait, a spinner bait, any kind of bait. So that's what I chose to go with. That's got a gold blade on it, and it just, man, I love fishing a buzz bait. And now I have this little finesse, I'd call it a finesse buzzbait, the little Jackall 1/4 ounce Dera Buzz. That medium action rod is really, I feel like, essential for that. As well as you don't want to overpower your line either. Like if I was throwing 60-pound FX2 braid, I don't think I can cast it as well as with this 30-pound Siglon by Sunline. So just the right combination, but it's a cool little bait. I mean, like I said, I've had 2 bites on it and I've only fished it for maybe less than 10 minutes. So high pressured situations, you know, like if you know an area where you've had some topwater success, you know, throwing whatever, and maybe you've pounded it a couple days or whatever, give them a different look. This little Dera Buzz, it makes enough commotion where you're just still gonna get those bites, and it's a different profile, a different noise, and it's gonna draw those fish. One thing that was cool about it too is there were some pads right behind us there, and I didn't realize it, like with the traditional, I'd say traditional buzzbait, bigger buzzbait, that buzzbait a lot of times will get snagged in those pads, or you know, the line will get underneath the pad stems themselves, and then you got a problem. This thing just hopped right over the top of it, and so I can fish it now through and over cover. So it's pretty cool, pretty impressed with it. All right, so I'm gonna go over the gear that I'm throwing the Dera Buzz on. You know, first of all, let's start off with the rod. You want a rod anywhere from like 6'10" to maybe 7 foot, maybe 7'2", something like that, but you want a medium action. If you know your traditional buzzbait rods, you're throwing a heavy action, maybe a medium heavy, but this is only a 1/4 ounce bait. So the braided line, you know, I would recommend anything from 40 to 20, right in that range, just because you are throwing a smaller bait. It's going to be easier to fish, easier to cast. And then the reel, you know, I like a 7-to-1 gear ratio when fishing baits like this. So it just helps with the speed, keeping that bait up, keeping it coming, and then when you hook one, having the power to get them away from it. So check out Tackle Warehouse for your fill of Dera Buzz, as well as all the other gear we talked about, and good luck on the water.